as Bob Howie had mentioned earlier, I'm on my way out the door, and so I am winding up, which is now a little bit less than 8 months to go in my tenure in the state legislature. And so it's gone by very quickly. They warned me when I got elected back in 2010 that, hey, don't take anything for granted. You're going to be out of here before you know it. And of course, it was the same stuff you heard in high school, stuff you heard in college, right? And what happens? Next thing you know, it's over and done with. And so, but I want to take this opportunity really to thank a lot of you in this room and pretty much all of you for all the support you've given me, my campaign, and my efforts to run for state rep. You guys have been there doing the doors, helping me raise the money, making the phone calls, and doing the things that are required in order to make campaigns successful. And so I always told people, it's like there was definitely no I in our team. Because if it would have just been me, there's no way I could have possibly gotten elected in a 47% Republican district. And so the challenge going forward is going to be, with Bob, we've got a situation that it's an open seat in a presidential year. And presidential years, especially in districts like mine, don't tend to go as well because you have a higher voter turnout and you've got to overcome those margins. Now, we are going to have some help with the elimination of straight party voting. Right, so we in the Republic, we basically had passed a law, the governor signed it, there will be no straight ticket voting anymore, and so that means that people will have to make their way all the way down the ballot and actually select people. What a concept, right? So they're not just going to be clicking an R or a D, and so that tends to help people, especially in districts like mine, but it also helps people at the bottom of the ticket. So think of your township supervisors, your township trustees, your clerks, your treasurers, things of that nature. It should help us build our farm system to move forward, to fill positions like mine in the future, or to fill, which used to be our Senator Colbeck, but now he was redistricted out in Livonia, which took a seat away from me, but through Proposal A, which basically means the money comes from the state, right? We all pay our 6% sales tax when we go buy a product at the store. We all pay income taxes, and certain portions of those taxes are dedicated to school aid funding. And so that money is funneled up to the state, and the state is really funding education at the state level. It really has gotten away from the local level because remember, if you remember in 1994, before Proposal A was passed, your schools were funded primarily through your local property taxes. And of course, at the time, the problem was property taxes were going through the roof, right? Because everybody just kept voting for millages. Or you had the exact opposite problem, and you didn't have a tax base, right? And so certain school districts didn't have any money, and then some had a lot of money because they kept passing millages. And so it was twofold. One, they wanted to get property taxes under control, but two, they wanted a little bit more equity in terms of what each child was worth in terms of a dollar amount at the state level for education. And so that was the reason why Proposal A was passed. I'm not a very big advocate of it. I think we've seen massive problems with that because you've seen bigger and bigger state control and regulations and things of that nature happen as a result of giving control to teachers, parents, administrators, and local board members that are voted for by the local elected officials. And now we end up in a situation, right, where if like a Detroit or a Pontiac or some of these urban cities where the school districts are getting to a point where they're insolvent, the state is almost obligated to come in now because we're the ones funding it, right? And so the local people, they're messing it up, they're being irresponsible, but it's our money from the state. And so now their kind of hands are clean because what did we do? We got rid of local control by changing the funding formula from the local level over to the state level. And so that's the predicament we find ourselves in right now. So. The floor is yours, Bill.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.